Is it true that you had the Michael J. Fox role in Back to the Future?
Yes, it is.
What happened?
This is Eric Stoltz. If you're a Tarantino fan, you likely know him from Pulp Fiction.
Kneel down in a stabbing motion.
If not, then he probably doesn't look or sound too familiar. However, if things had played out differently, today you would know him as legendary Marty
McFly, what do you think you're doing?
Back to the Future is considered by many to be a perfect film, so it's amazing how many on-the-go decisions were made during the production, the biggest one being the recasting of the lead actor.
Are you trying to tell me that my mother has got the hots for me?
Today, it's hard to imagine anyone other than Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly. In fact, he was the writer's first choice, but because he was the star of NBC's wildly successful sitcom Family Ties, the series producer Gary Goldberg was extremely protective of Fox. He wouldn't even let him read the script at first. Universal Studio would cancel Back to the Future's production if it didn't meet certain deadlines, so they had to move forward with another lead. Many actors were tested for the role of Marty McFly, including Johnny Depp and Ben Stiller.
Lorraine, lately I've come to the conclusion I don't know anything about my parents.
With production deadlines looming over them, the choice came down to two actors, C. Thomas Howell from The Outsiders and Eric Stoltz. Stoltz ultimately won the part through the pressure of Universal Studios president Sid Sheinberg. Both the director Robert Zemeckis and writer/producer Bob Gale actually preferred C. Thomas Howell, but because of the tight schedule, production had to move quickly without much room for discussion. And if you have by any chance seen Stoltz's early 80s trashy B-movies, it's easy to see why he made sense for Marty McFly. He played a very similar kind of character, a timid but polite teenager who is overpowered by an imposing, rowdy brute. That's the exact dynamic they needed between Marty and Biff, so on the surface, Eric seemed like the best choice. However, problems started to emerge before the filming even started. After the first table read with the entire cast, Stoltz had a very different reaction to the script. While everyone else burst out laughing, he sat calm and lost in thoughts.
They said, "How do you feel, Eric?" And he said, "I think it's a tragedy. My character remembers a past that no one else remembers."
On its face, this isn't an unfair reading of Back to the Future. Having to spend the rest of your life remembering alternative pasts that no one else remembers and not having anyone to share it with is a sad, tragic thought. But Back to the Future is far from a sad, tragic movie. It's a comedy at heart, but an argument could be made that Back to the Future's comedy comes more from how situations are framed and the actor's reaction to them, rather than from written jokes. Stoltz just interpreted the script differently as a primarily dramatic actor. To his credit, though, if you made it black and white and inserted some mysterious music, Back to the Future could play as an extra long episode of The Twilight Zone. All that aside, the clock was ticking, and Zemeckis could not afford his lead to not get it. He directly explained to Stoltz that what they were making was supposed to be a comedy blockbuster movie and expected him to understand the director's concept. But this wasn't the case. Stoltz either refused or was unable to shake his personal vision of the film, and his process as a method actor made things awkward on set.
He wanted to grow his fingernails really long because guitar players have long fingernails and they were dirty and things like that that just weren't going over in a summer teen movie. You know, they wanted him to be a teen idol.
He would only answer to Marty at all times, to the point that Christopher Lloyd thought that was his real name. He also had an issue with his red hair being dyed black and his freckles being covered with makeup to create the family resemblance between Marty and George McFly, all of which made him feel like his performance was unnatural. In the limited amount of footage with Stoltz, it's easy to see how different his version of the character is. He's serious, intense, and completely lacks the screwball energy and silliness that makes the final film work so well, where Michael J. Fox Marty would appear shocked, stunned, and almost paralyzed with disbelief.
You're George McFly.
Stoltz took the role in a more serious direction. He didn't react to the unbelievable circumstances nearly enough, choosing instead to tackle those situations head-on, as he would in a more dramatic role. Even when it came to the smallest of details, he actively pushed back. For example, in the scene where Marty wanders into Hill Valley, trying to process where he is, Stoltz refused to stumble on the sidewalk. He didn't believe his character was clumsy or goofy, so in his version, he just jogs over the street.
He's a reactive character. He was written that way. He reacts to everything. I mean, because he's a stranger in a strange land, and it takes an actor with a perfect sense of comedy timing and a really great actor, because it's been said that acting is reacting.
No, good, fine. Good.
Furthermore, he didn't just butt heads with the director, but also with the rest of the cast. Tom Wilson, who plays Biff, explained that Stoltz was so intense in his method acting that it almost resulted in a real fistfight. When filming the cafeteria scene, he was dedicated to making the confrontation look as real as possible, without any regard for his co-star's safety.
The method was very strong toward me. He was driving the heels of his hands hard into my collarbones. I mean, really pushing me.
Wilson warned him multiple times, but Stoltz simply pretended like he doesn't hear him, because at that point they are not together in the scene. However, he decided that in the coming scenes, he will give Stoltz a taste of his own medicine.
A couple of nights, I'm pulling you out of that car at the dance, and we're gonna see what happens then.
Fortunately for Stoltz, that day never came. After exhausting all of his hope that the film would turn out okay, Zemeckis made the hard call and fired the lead actor.
Hello.
You're fired. The decision was made 5 weeks into shooting, but filming persisted for another week while Zemeckis tried to strike a deal with Family Ties producer to give him Fox. They used this time to shoot usable close-ups that did not include Stoltz, while avoiding wide shots as much as possible to not cause any suspicion among the rest of the cast. In fact, aside from Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis, no one on the set during that week knew about Stoltz. Funnily enough, according to Tom Wilson, Stoltz does allegedly appear in the completed film. There's a shot where Marty punches Biff, and he thinks that's Stoltz's hand, since he doesn't remember filming that again with Fox.
It's my belief that Eric Stoltz's fist punches me in the 50s cafe.
Getting Michael J. Fox was difficult to say the least. They literally had to get down on their knees and beg Family Ties producer Gary Goldberg to let him even read the script. And when after enough persuasion, he finally said yes, there was one crucial condition.
Family Ties always comes first. If you guys are willing to make that accommodation to us and shoot around our schedule, then I will let Michael read the script.
And 5 days after Stoltz was gone, Fox joined the production. An agreement was made where Fox would work on Family Ties from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Be transferred in a car with a mattress in the back so he could nap on the way to the Back to the Future set, and then work there from 6 p.m. till 4 or 5 in the morning. Nighttime scenes were filmed during the week, while daytime scenes were shot over the weekends when the Family Ties cast was having their days off. For 3 months straight, Michael J. Fox worked for almost every single day with only 2 short gaps for sleep between the 2 productions.
Go back and literally get driven home and carried in the house and dropped in bed and woken up in the morning and put in the shower. And I mean, it was just crazy.
He would learn his lines on the go, but he often forgot them, so he had to ad-lib during filming. He didn't have any trouble maintaining his character though, since he just carried the screwball energy from Family Ties onto the set of Back to the Future. With how the movie turned out, it really does seem like the role was always meant for him. It's safe to say that if the risky decision to redo the filming with him had never been made, we likely wouldn't have the classic we have today.
Guess you guys aren't ready for that yet. But your kids are gonna love it.
What's most surprising is that there was no bad blood between Stoltz and anyone involved in the film, like one might expect in an ego-driven industry like Hollywood, except for maybe Tom Wilson.
Butthead.
When asked about his experience, he's very calm and non-reactive, similar to his version of Marty.
What happened was the director fired me.
Why?
He didn't like my work.
He understood there was simply a mismatch between their interpretation of the material and walked away with dignity. Fox and the other crew members always give praise to Stoltz's acting skills and speak of him with nothing but respect.
They were very compassionate, very understanding in the way that they dealt with him. They spoke very highly of Eric, and that impressed me.
However, there's no doubt that this was a turning point for both Fox and Stoltz's career. While Fox went on to become a teen idol of the 80s and starred in Back to the Future sequels, Eric Stoltz, well, he was in The Fly too.